Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. So it's pretty clear that Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice was a loose adaptation of The Dark Knight Returns. And I said at the time that Snyder and Terrio may as well have given us a faithful adaptation of The Dark Knight Returns. $2 billion in the bank if they did that. Superman still appears in that graphic novel. It would have been perfect. Loosely adapting it gave Snyder and WB the problems they had with that film, and going forward with the DCEU. It set a precedent of mistrust from the audience, from the fans. Now it's pretty obvious again that James Gunn is loosely adapting All-Star Superman, the graphic novel where Superman is dying throughout that story. In fact, he does die at the end of that graphic novel and in the adaptation in the animated movie. So it's pretty clear that he's loosely adapting All-Star Superman. And I think if this is the case, which I think it is, I think he's dying throughout this movie. I think that's why the costume doesn't fit David properly. But is that actually Superman? Or is it a clone of Superman, right? Is it kind of a failed attempt to clone Superman? So we could all end up with egg on our faces because the costume he showed us may not be the costume that the real Superman, the real David Cronsworth Superman, is wearing. But we can only judge what the man shows us. So this is a huge gamble, everyone, if he is, like I believe, loosely adapting All-Star Superman. Is it a good idea? I can see how adapting The Dark Knight Returns for the second DCEU movie could work in terms of what they set up in MOS. But in terms of a first Superman film, in a first film in a brand new DC franchise, is it a good idea to have Superman dying in the first movie? Because I think that's definitely the direction he's going in. There's good reasons. This could work and this could be a disaster. In a way, having Superman in a weakened state where he's still being the hero we know and love, as he's weakened and he's dying, could be a good thing to make him relatable with modern day audiences, but also it could be a disaster. And is he going to kill him off like I've been worried about since he's been teasing All-Star Superman? So there's two scenarios here. Either he kills him off at the end of the movie, which will be a disaster. Clearly, James Gunn is slightly clever enough to understand what killing off Superman at the end of the first movie could mean. It could be disastrous. It could be a gamble. Would they take that gamble? But there's another scenario here, because we know he's wearing that Kingdom Come logo. Is that logo nostalgia bait, or is he wearing it for a reason? Doesn't make sense to me why that, is it because it's a clone and they got the costume wrong? I have no idea, right? Luther may have cloned him, got the costume wrong as he cloned that version of Superman. It could be that. If Superman's in a weakened state, he may remain in a weakened state. And what may happen is they may do a time jump. Because he's in a weakened state, that he can become old. So we see an older version of Superman, somebody else playing Superman. So David Cronsworth may be Superman for just this movie. Now, people tell me he's only signed a one-contract deal, but I think automatically you sign a deal for sequels, whether you're going to do the sequels or not. So, people, BVS haters say it was a mistake to kill Superman off after just his second appearance. Well, surely it's a mistake to have Superman in a weakened state in his first movie and potentially to kill him off in his first movie. But I think, look, James Gunn thinks he's secretive and stuff, but he's like a child in a candy shop. He can't help himself. He was teasing pages of All-Star Superman for months and months when he first got the gig, before he even started shooting the film. So it's pretty clear he's adapting All-Star Superman. And for me personally, it could be exciting, it could work, or it could be an absolute disaster. Well, what do you think? Is it a good idea to loosely adapt any graphic novel?